All right, now let's look at how we can find slope given 2 points. So not always will we have a line to find the slope from. Sometimes we'll be given just 2 points of that line. So this right here is the slope formula. Slope formula. I don't know. I'm adding an extra word of that. Slope formula, where m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So really, the only thing we're doing here is taking our y coordinates, subtracting, finding the difference of them, and then finding the difference between our x coordinates. This will tell us the rise, and this will tell us the run. And if you think about that, like say you're on the 4th floor and you climb up to the 7th floor, how far did you rise? Well, you rose 3 because you went up 3 floors. Well, 7 minus 4 would be 3. So that's really all we're doing is find the difference between those 2 points. So I have that same formula up here, y sub 2 minus y sub 1, x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And if you think back to what we talked about that very last day of e-learning, we can just think of this as our first point 1, and this is our second point 2. And all we have to do is subtract them. And I label this as point 2. It doesn't matter which one's point 2 and which is point 1. The main thing we have to remember is that whatever point we pick first, whatever y we pick first, its corresponding x value also has to go first. That's the main thing here, is as long as the points match up, as long as you have the y value above its corresponding x value of that same point, it will give you the same answer regardless. So I'm going to label this as x1, y1, x2, y2. And I'm going to subtract these. So I'm going to say y sub 2, and that's when this 2, and this one, they don't mean anything mathematically, that there's nothing for us to do with them. It's just identifying that those are the points that we're using. So my second point, my y is -1, and it's always going to be minus. You're always going to have a number minus a number over a number minus a number. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, we always are going to have that negative sign that we begin with. So y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. -1 minus 2 is -3. 4 minus 5 is -1, and a -3 over a -1 is a +3. So we know our slope on those between those two lines is 3. Same thing here, x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. I'll be left with 6 minus 3 all over 4 minus a -2. Once again, I'll always have a minus on there. 6 minus 3 is 3, and 4 minus a -2 is 6. So I can reduce that to say our slope is a +1/2. Because 6 minus 3 is 3, 4 minus a -2 is 6, 1/2. Over here, x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. Take my second y first, -3 minus 5 all over 1/2 minus 9/2. -3 minus 5 would be a -8. That leaves me with 1/2 minus 8/2, or 9/2, which is the same as -8/2. And that's the same as -8, and -8/2 is the same as -4, and -8 divided by -4 is a +2. So we know our slope between the points 9/2, 5, and 1/2, -3 would have a positive slope of 2. And you could always do a little rough sketch to see if this is if it makes sense. This is a positive. So I'd have a point, say you're right about there, and this is a positive negative. It's right here. And with a quick little sketch, does that have a positive slope? Yep, it's a puff positive. So I kind of went about 4.5 up 5, over a little bit, down 3, to show that we have that positive slope. All right, let's do 3 more on this one over here. I'm going to have -2, 4, and 4, 4 as my second point. So I'm going to have x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. So I'm going to have 4 minus 4 all over 4 minus a -2. That leaves us 0 over 6. And 0 divided by 6 is 0, so this line has a slope of 0. And if we do a little graph on this one, I'm going to go left 2, up 4, right 4, up 4, and what type of line is that right there? It's a horizontal line that is a zero fun. X sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. I'll be left with 1 minus 5 all over 3 minus 3, which is negative 4 over 0. And I cannot divide it by 0. That's an impossibility. So my slope is undefined. So if I do a quick sketch on this graph, 3, 5 is right about there, over 3, up 5, over 3, up 1, and that is a horizontal line that is undefined. Over there, we have x1, y1, x2, y2. I'm going to take negative 2 minus 3 all over 3 minus 1. That's negative 5 over 2, which lets me know my slope is a negative 5 halves. So when we find the slope of two lines, we are simply taking the y value of one point minus the y value of the other point, and then taking that corresponding x value and subtracting it from the other x value and dividing those two, or writing it as a fraction. So this formula right here can be kind of intimidating sometimes to some students. It really is just subtract the y's, subtract the x's, write it as a fraction, and then simplify if you can. Don't convert to a mixed number. We like improper fractions when we graph slope because slope is rise over run, so it's a lot easier for us to have an improper fraction than a mixed number. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Please watch these videos. I mean, if you're here, you watch this, but watch my future videos and also watch the YouTube videos too. I do my best to pick out good ones. I don't just put random videos down there. Teachers I know that I like and teachers I know do a good job explaining the concept. So this was finding the slope given 2 points. Have a great day, guys, and I'll hopefully see you soon.